Morning, boys and girls. So back on the 36 today. Plan for today is we are going to get the engine bay blitzed. We need to do a little bit of welding. We're going to reinforce the strut towers and paint up some rust and stuff like that. But before we get to that, we just need to blitz this engine bay. So just a quick video. We're going to rip out the old engine mounts because they're no good, and then we're going to smash through detailing the engine bay. Just to have a good go at it and see how it comes out before we start doing some fabrication. So first things first, get these engine mounts out of the way. So I'll put a before and after picture up in a minute so you can have a good comparison what it looked like before we started work. But as you can tell, it's pretty grubby. Probably never been cleaned in all of its life. So yeah, we want to give it a good clean. Obviously we've got some rust to tidy up. Showed you this in a previous video down here, a little bit down here as well, a bit holy there. But before we start doing any work, we want to just get rid of all this dirt, grime and crap. So yeah, next stage we'll get you set up and get the pressure washer on it. And we haven't got any fancy TFR or anything like that. All we're going to do is use some diluted bilberry wheel cleaner, just because it should break through the grime and stuff quite nicely. So we'll get you set up and get to work. But I just need to whip these off first. These engine mounts, I think they've got a 14mm bolt from underneath, so we'll do that quickly and then get cleaning. So I'll just bring you in down here. It's far easier to do this on the floor and put an extension, use a small socket, put an extension bar and then work the other side of the arm, but I don't fancy laying on the floor today, so as it's only 2 bolts I don't want to get that grubby. So you can just about get a ratchet in there from the top, but yeah, it's a bit awkward when you're working blind upside down. Anyway, that's the first one pretty much out. Are we there? Nearly. But yeah, they're far easier to do from the underside, so don't do what I'm doing. But anyway, it's a 17mm. Okay, so both of those are out. Driver's one was an absolute nightmare. I'm assuming because of all the heat from the exhaust, must cause some issues. Anyway, it's off, but it was an absolute nightmare. So these are oil filled from the factory. Sorry about the noise, I'm literally on my driveway. These are oil filled from factory. As you can tell, obviously it's ripped in half. So what tends to happen is eventually they split, they lose their oil, and then they're just no good. So that's the nut that was on there, which is pretty beat up, and for some reason, well, it's like super rounded. I ended up putting a 16 on there, smashing a 16 on, it came undone, and then yeah, it fought me with the rusty old thread, but it's off. Anyway, I'll get you set up now and we can do something a bit nicer, get this cleaned down. So I'll get you set up and let's smash through it. Not one to usually stress too much about a a clean engine bay, but as soon as we've got the engine out, we're not on a deadline, we may as well, right? So yeah, it's come up alright, not too bad. I think the chassis legs and inner wings need a good scrub, so let's get some cleaner on them, see if we can make them look a bit prettier. Right, so that's done a reasonable job, but I think it needs a thorough wipe down now with a rag. Some of this stuff is so stubborn, I don't know if it's like very old wax or something from the body that's worked its way forward, I'm not really sure. Yeah, some of this stuff is super stubborn, not sure if I'm using the wrong cleaner. Some of it's definitely like cavity wax, this stuff. As much as I'd like it gone, it doesn't need to be too pretty. It's sort of like part of the factory finish, I guess. So I'm not sure how far I'm going to go, but the main thing is just get the dirt and grime off it, because obviously when you're working on them, nothing worse than getting covered in crap that you could get rid of with a bit of cleaning. So and obviously being silver, it seems to have stained. There's a lot of stains in the paint from various oils and stuff, I guess, that have encroached onto the paintwork at one point or another, but I'd say that looks a lot better for minimal time and effort. Obviously I'm no detailer, but you could spend a good few hours doing this and getting every little piece and imperfection off, but realistically it's like, it's already very old, there's a lot of damage to the paint through rust and marks over the years. It doesn't need to be perfect, just a bit more presentable and a bit nicer to work on is really the aim. So yeah, I'd say that's reasonable. I'm not sure what these weird foam things are. I don't know if there was a factory alarm fitted there or something like that. Anyway, they've come off, so I might get a bit of glue remover on that just to get rid of that crap. But yeah, that looks a bit better. So I'll crack on and do the other side now, and then I'd say we are ready for some fabrication. Right, this is a consumer review. I doubt Lidl are watching. As we all know, Lidl does cheap tools and stuff, and they're okay. Don't recommend the hose pipes. This thing has like 5 holes in it, it's not even a year old. I keep cutting the ends down where it rips, trying to make it usable. I've even put rub around it with Jubilee clips and the thing's still leaking. It's got like 5 holes in it. It's had the easiest life going, but it's just utter crap. It's got like blisters here where it's splitting apart. Anyway, that's going straight in the bin. So yeah, don't buy Lidl hose pipes, they're shit. Okay, so that's all cleaned. It's come out pretty well, to be honest. Got a few bits and bobs to address. WD-40 works pretty well to get rid of this cavity wax. Some of it's like stained on there. I'm not too worried, it looks a lot better than it did. Brake cleaner got these foam pads and glue off pretty well. So obviously I'm not recommending you use any of these products, I'm just using stuff I've got lying around. So yeah, I'm not a detailer. I'm not saying these are the best products to use on this paintwork, but obviously it's pretty tired anyway, so I'm not too precious over it. Anyway, so that's that side, it's come up pretty well. You can see down there by the fuel lines, a lot of that is like cavity wax that's well and truly stuck on there. Again, once the engine's in, you're not really going to see it, I'm not too fussed. But it looks a lot more presentable than it did. Same on this side. You can see the rust quite clearly that I've got to address, so I'm going to wire wheel all of this back, give it a good treatment, and I've ordered some paint, so we'll give that a touch up. I did clean the subframe. The subframe's not actually super rusty, but it's all pretty grotty and tired. But that's a job for another day, I think, so we'll leave that for now. The main thing is it all works. Still going to replace these lines because I don't trust them. But yeah, it looks all pretty clean and tidy. The only other thing we're going to do, we won't do it in today's video, but the next video will be a whole load of fabricating. So we're going to reinforce these strut towers. So these plates are available. I'll actually sell them. So I'll put a link in the description to them. So these basically, it's a 3mm plate, CNC cut. So all we'll do is we'll undo these bolts here, drop that down, clean up this rust, and then what we can do is we can weld this in. Sorry, that way around. Obviously there's a gap there at the moment because the nut's still on there, but this then sits down on the strut tower. We then weld that around the strut tower, just add some reinforcement to that area, especially as I'm planning to probably run this car quite low. There's no real stress cracks or anything, but it's a really common thing on these cars to see stress fractures, especially when you run them low with stiff suspension. And as you can already see, there's a little bit of rust festering. Best thing to do is just get these plates on. They're available from our website, so I'll drop a link below, but they're about 30 quid, including delivery. You can get them on eBay as well from me. But yeah, so we'll do that. We'll address this rust, possibly deal with that hole. We might do that later, I don't know yet. And we'll get it painted, all in the next video. So that'll be the next one, and then at that point we are more or less ready, just waiting for a few bits to turn up. So we've still got to pull this gearbox off the old engine, still got to get our new engine mounts on, and then we might start thinking about getting the new engine in the hole. So yeah, we shall see. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you in part 4.